So recently, I was talking to one of my friends about the Sun and Moon anime, and she told me about one of the newer English subbed episodes of Sun and Moon, and how it really hit the feels hard. So I had to sit down and watch it, and man, were they right. It really did hit the feels. This got me thinking about the moments of the Pokemon anime that really pulled at my own heartstrings. This top 10 saddest moments of Pokemon list, of course, has some that everyone will agree on, and others that may be lesser known. Keep in mind this is my list, and you can share some of your moments in the comment section below. But that being said, let's get right into the saddest moments in all of Pokemon history. Starting off this list, we have the episode Pikachu's Goodbye. In this episode, we see Ash's Pikachu interact with wild Pikachus and actually see how happy it can be. When Ash, Misty, and Brock see this, they start to question if Pikachu was really happy with them. Then when Team Rocket tries once again to capture our Pikachu and all the other Pikachu, it brings Ash to the realization that maybe it was best for him to leave his partner behind. This is an episode I watched as a kid, and I can remember tearing up when Ash tried to walk away from Pikachu. But to see Pikachu running up and jumping into Ash's arms made it all worth it. Ash's Goodra. We've all watched it grow from a weak Goomy to a confident Slugoo into a majestic Goodra. You can't tell me you didn't have a tear come to your eye when Ash said goodbye to it. Yes, he brought it back with him to fight in the Kalos League, but we didn't know it at that time. To see Florges work now with Goodra after all the pain that it caused Goodra and its friends was very touching. Even when Goodra almost falls to its own death saving Florges, but that does not compare to the moment when Ash says his goodbye. When he tells Goodra that he is leaving him to protect the Pokemon in the area and Goodra hugs him, this is where you can tell it's actually crying. It is super sad. Normal love is something that makes us cry tears of joy, but not this time. In the episode Bye Bye Butterfree, Ash's Butterfree falls in love with the pink Butterfree, and Ash decides to leave it behind. Caterpie was the first Pokemon Ash ever caught and evolved into a final stage evolution. The time they spent together truly meant something to Ash, even after trading it for Eradicate and then nearly playing chase for its Pokeball on the sinking SS Anne. At least he has the heart to go back for it and regrets his decision. Ash and friends were at a Butterfree festival and saw all sorts of trainers sitting out their Butterfree. Ash decides to join in and sends out his own. Ash's Butterfree then runs into a pink Butterfree and then struggles to get its attention. At first, Ash's Butterfree gets shot down, but after saving her from Team Rocket, they fall in love and Ash makes the decision to let Butterfree go. To the past montages of Ash and Butterfree, to the crying, and the epic first season Pokemon opening. That was one of the moments in Pokemon history that truly made me tear up. I wonder how Butterfree is doing nowadays. Team Rocket. We normally don't associate them with any sad moments, but there are actually two on this list. This being the first one starts out with Jessie and her Dustox, a Pokemon that really made her shine. When you see the flashback to Jessie's past, you can see how tortured of a person she really is. She had given up on the boy she loved, Ostian, and what's even worse is in this episode she actually runs into his twin brother, and his Dustox falls in love with her Dustox. After seeing her own mistaken love, she destroys the Pokeball, declaring that Dustox is now free because there is no Pokeball to return to. This next one is probably one you guys were expecting to see on the list, but we're probably expecting to see it a little bit later on in the list. However, there was no way that I could not include this one. That being how Ash died in Pokemon the first movie. It all starts with Mew and Mewtwo fighting it out due to their different views when it came to Pokemon Birthright. Mewtwo claimed that his Pokemon were perfect and better copies of the original Pokemon, but Mew said it did not matter where Pokemon it came from. Birthright was insignificant because they all lived on the same planet, breathed the same air, and lived a life just like everyone else does. Due to their disagreements, both parties of original Pokemon and clones fought each other, literally inflicting pain onto one another. Ash saw that this was happening and did not want to see it anymore. Out of desperation, he charged into the crossfire of Mew and Mewtwo's blast and was turned to stone. Once turned to stone, Pikachu starts to shock Ash in hopes of waking him up, but fails to do so. Pikachu starts to cry as the other Pokemon do as well. After a few minutes of crying, the tears of life are brought to Ash and he comes back to life. If you didn't cry during this scene as a child, I don't know what is wrong with you. As a 22-year-old loser who makes Pokemon videos on the internet, I still cry to this day every time I watch this scene. Laugh all you want in the comments, I really don't care. The Pokemon Origins series was an animated short of 4 episodes to portray the actions of the young 10-year-old male protagonist Red from the Kanto games. They did an incredible job of animating Red's journey and exploited his actions throughout Kanto very well, though I will admit the Pokemon Origins series was great. However, I do feel a strong feeling of disgust due to the actions of Team Rocket. Pokemon Origins enlightened the viewers of how cruel and heartless Team Rocket can truly be. In episode 2 of the Pokemon Origins series, there were Pokemon seen locked up in cages, frightened out of their minds because they knew they weren't going to be able to go back to where they belonged. Team Rocket had sold Pokemon for a profit to traders or anyone looking to buy them. Even with that being cruel enough, they managed to go above and beyond that by killing an innocent Cubone's mother after sacrificing herself to protect her baby. Cubone is then found by Mr. Fuji and is cared for deeply. Red finds out about this and then confronts Team Rocket at their base of operations at the Lavender Town Tower. While confronting Team Rocket, Red runs into his rival Blue, and they both discover the ghost of the dead Cubone's mother, Marowak. She is angry at what happened to her and was afraid her Cubone had been killed by Team Rocket as well, but she sees Cubone and comforts it while Cubone is seen crying over seeing its dead mother as a ghost. Marowak then ascends. Team Rocket is just too rotten. You had to get the feels from watching this one. Let's first address the fact that I was very glad to see Misty back for this episode. What I wasn't glad about was her losing her baby Togepi. That Pokemon was something that we all associated with Misty, and we all watched her lovingly raise it. With the evil villain of the week to try and take over the kingdom, to kidnapping her own Togepi, we see Misty do everything to get her baby back safely. When it evolves in the Togetic and uses Protect to save everyone, it allows Misty to use her ace in the hole, Gyarados. Let me just say that the flamethrower used by Gyarados on the Shedinja and the music playing in the background was probably one of the coolest moments I've ever seen Misty have in the Pokemon anime. After the battle ends, Togetic asks Misty to stay, and with tears in her eyes, she agrees, declaring her love for this most loyal Pokemon. It is very, very sad, and unfortunately, Misty actually doesn't stay with Togetic and kind of goes back to her regular life at the Cerulean Gym. The Pokemon Johto series, in my opinion, had some of the best movies, and had some of the most iconic deaths in the whole entire series, that being the death of Latios in Pokemon Heroes. I will admit Celebi was pretty sad, but it came back to life. I will give that one credit where it's due. Latios though, whew, that's another story. Altamar, an island located in the southern Johto region, is occupied by the 2 Eon Pokemon Latios and Latias. Ash and friends make their way over there because of the Tour de Altamar, a water-type Pokemon race that happens once a year. Misty, being the water master she is, of course wins the race. Ash and friends then wander throughout the town, checking out the sights, etc. Ash, however, goes off on his own and meets Latias disguised as a young female named Bianca. Ash then follows Latias to the place where Latios and Latias both live. What Ash doesn't know is that Latias was being attacked by Team Rocket members, Annie and Oakley. These two have their own plans of using the defense mechanism of Altamar, a weapon that grants immense power. However, Latios and the Soldew, pretty much Latios' life force, are needed in order to use this machine. Annie and Oakley capture Latios and the Soldew and begin to use their powers to control the defense mechanism. After locking down the entire town, removing all the water from Altamar, and several attempts by Ash and friends to stop them, Latios sacrifices himself to end the tyranny of the defense mechanism and then brings back peace to Altamar. Latias and everyone is seen in tears because Latios had made the sacrifice that had saved their lives. The Soldew is then brought back, and well, you guys can decide what happens after that. Was there a new Latios? Did Bianca really kiss Ash? Honestly, Latios' death put me in the feels, but did Bianca kiss Ash, or was it Latias? That part still confuses me. Serena would be out for blood though. Number 2 was going to be number 1, but a new recent episode of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime put this one back at number 2. I am sure we all know Jessie and James, the dynamic duo of Team Rocket, and their original Pokemon Arbok and Weezing. They had these Pokemon for quite a long time, starting off in the early days of Kanto as Ekans and Coughing, and then later evolving into Arbok and Weezing. Arbok and Weezing then stuck with Jessie and James until the start of Hoenn. The story of how Jessie and James had to leave Arbok and Weezing though is seriously super depressing. Jessie and James James encounter a poacher who have Ekans and Coughing locked up. Jessie and James are outraged by this, and so are their Arbok and Weezing. They then attempt to battle the poacher but get utterly destroyed. However, they are successful in freeing the trapped Ekans and Coughing. As a distraction, Jessie and James get purposely beat in order to buy time for the Pokemon to escape, including their Arbok and Weezing. Arbok and Weezing refused to leave and wanted to help their masters fight off the poacher, but both Jessie and James yelled at them to go until they complied. They are then seen crying and slithering off into a forest. What makes this scene so touching is that it shows Jessie and James actually do have hearts, despite them being part of an evil team. Seeing the montage of Jessie and James getting beaten up and Arbok and Weezing just crying their eyes out and running away just makes me tear up every time I watch it. I know I said before that the Sun and Moon anime is a hit or miss, but this episode, I had a friend bug me into watching it, and boy, was it worth it. We see once again the combination of Stoutland and Litten, but something is very wrong with Stoutland. Even with its suffering, it still finds the strength to teach Litten Fire Fang until Ash sees it collapse on the ground. When Ash picks it up to rush it to the Pokemon Center, he comments on how light the Pokemon's weight is. Just hearing Litten's pathetic cry as it paws at the glass, watching Nurse Joy work on its friend, is heartbreaking enough, but they are not done with this yet. Seeing the dream where Stoutland is heavily hinted at leaving this world is devastating. To see Litten chasing down its fatherly figure only to have him disappear, and the heart wrench is just... Hold on, I need a moment. Even Meowth tries to help out Litten after the loss of its father figure. Even with that rainbow at the end of the show to say everything was okay, I still found myself with tears in my eyes. There's no way that this Pokemon is not alive anymore. Well, those were my top 10 saddest moments in the Pokemon anime. I know that there are probably some that I may have missed in your guys' opinions, so put your saddest moments in the comments below. I don't know if you guys can top this number 1 though, that is just too much for anyone to handle. But with those sad moments out of the way, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and share this video with a friend. With that being said though, I am Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you next time with some more Pokemon content.